Glasses. I know how to flick goggles slash glasses. Have you seen the video? China, she made $8 in like 2 seconds. Did you guys? So in China, this is already shopping happening. So no, that a lot of people don't have that. It's a spot. This is what I look for. It's happened. It hasn't happened in 95%. Yeah, in fact, only 5% does. PC and HSN are doing. I don't think people understand understand how many hours of human attention social has compared to other apps buying things on social media like it's QVC. Yeah, live social shopping will matter. I literally believe every retail in America will trend. I think of it as cloud kitchens. Cloud kitchens haven't fully taken off, but I don't know if you some of the stuff buying on post dash the physical restaurant underneath. I think retail is about to convert into QVC. So dollars of stuff being in America, see in Home Shopping Network. And as you know this, because you're in the media, we're just trying to figure out like what TV is gonna look like. That's like the school stuff like that. When I say that, and they look up, they're like, how is it for all of you shop? There are people in this room actually. A couple days ago, last week, TikTok had an event here for 100 that are doing live shopping at scale, making hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars a year live on TikTok. Stuff. Hundreds of they knew everything. As a matter of fact, I was yelling up there to all of them, like, please understand you're in your moment right now, because the masses don't get, and in 3 years now, and you're gonna be sad that you're right now, because this is the moment to land buying up real estate. Like if you know Malibu's gonna be Malibu, sitting there, available for cheap, sad that you only got one house. I think of attention the way I think about real estate. So they knew. They're already doing it. So I think live social shopping is going to be available. And so that's why I tend not to be surprised, because I didn't want social shopping to happen. I've known about it for a long time. What goes on in China. When it happened, I was prepared for it to happen. Now required me to spend 50 hours of real so I could be the strategist of
You. What up? What's up? Looking at AMC's chart.
I'm not gonna go to the park and play on little kids today. Break that.
Break it.
Fucking hate having to come here every day, man. It's retarded.
What is it?
Stupid program. They got me sitting here all day from 9 to 3 o'clock. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that sucks.
I feel like I'm in fucking school or yeah, in this place, people like to cut and burn themselves.
What?
Well, you always used to do shit.
What the fuck are you? What?
You always used to kill yourself, man.
Fuck no.
You, bro, look, we gonna go back to what was at your house? Bro, you always put your arm in the fucking water, bro, so they cut yourself like you want to try. I'm like, no. Don't do that no more, right? Please.
No, bro. Wow. Always. Yeah.
Shit back. I miss being a little boy. Looks like you have so much responsibility. I was going to do absolutely fucking nothing on that. That was awesome.
Wow.
What's up with AMC? It's not doing shit right now.
It's looking really interesting. On open, it was really strong, and then now it's like holding this. It's looking a lot like what happened in fucking 2020. I mean, like, very, very fucking similar. What?
It's not. It's gonna do good. You think still?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you know. We said to go out. I had fun.
Alright, yeah. Let me know when you're done with your shit. Play some Rocket League.
Are pouring on everything. Social shopping. What's that thing? Sits on social. Understand of attention social has compared to that. Yeah. I think most emotional decisions. Sometimes they make a decision based on where they make their money. Right? Like if you're a hamburger joint, and all of a sudden years ago, somebody's full hot dogs, but you were a hamburger kid. Instead of what I would do, which is like add hot dogs to your menu, just keep trying to tell me my hot dogs are a fad. Factory. That's right. That's what humans do. And the ones that don't tend to do quite well commercially. I don't care what consumers care about. I just care to know it as quickly as possible and figure out what I'm going to do. So today, actually, full AI program upload article. Yes. And it turns into 15, 20, however long podcast you want it to be. Yes. And that was so wild. Such an impressive thing too. Yes. I'm sure you're familiar with that. That just struck me though, is a recent example of how AI could essentially replace so many careers. What is your take on that and other AI? Lot to that. AI replacing so podcaster that would replace also replaced drive time radio host for a midday host. TV personality because long and that became further back there was no television. And when television came, that replaced the radio man or the print. So like these things ebb and flow. Like at the end of the day, someone still wrote that article. Yeah. So the way my brain goes, that just sounds like actually that were sad 10 years ago. You know, the people by podcaster just sounded like the person that writes articles now back in the game. This is the thing with AI. It's kind of like the tractor. When the tractor came out, there was a lot of conversation in society many, many years ago, which was bad because 80% of people on farms didn't understand was the tractor was going to allow people to do better things. Hysteria at worst, or curiosity at best, of what's going to mean is bad, are people going to be replaced? The answer is yes-ish. So don't forget, somebody that feels about to get replaced by AI to make in Photoshop, like a good at Photoshop, but the person that drew on paper was allowed to learn Photoshop. And so this concept that the robots are going to replace everyone here, that also could be in play. But the current state of what AI tools are being jitter than people. Much more than they're just going to outright replace everyone else. Is going to be looking at each other. Could there be certain things? Of course there can. But Amazon innovated that really low store owners. You know, when Uber came along, that changed that only with Italians, right? Certain things happen that aren't really, but that's just the ebb and flow of everything. I mean, supermarkets came along, disrupted local markets in the street, disrupted Kmart, ShopRites. Stuff's always changing. Creative destruction. Yeah. It's what humans, it's how the game is played. And so the question becomes, the real question is, grab a surfboard and ride this wave, sand and let the surf wave kill you. So I think it's pretty amazing because I think people are much more capable than they sometimes think of themselves. See the AI thing as an opportunity versus the
scenario. How do you define the AI way as a creator or anyone?
by creating AI libraries, by using the products to be more efficient. Today, there are people right this second as we're being designer, and they're being paid in the role. I'm on the other side, custom to something, and they're paying them that way. That person is capable as a creator to actually earn and get 7 minutes, and then same fee for at least now until the market adjusts.
Yeah.
And then spend 3 hours and 50 minutes with family, or get 70 more clients. Like, sure is to realize the opportunity. We're saying what was good about it, bad about it. Transpire of the last 15 years was whatever they were trying to achieve, or they made fun of it and got disrupted by people to achieve what they achieved. And I just think that's going to happen. To a lot of people, seem like I'm always talking because I do a lot of stuff like this, but I make a
Video.
hey, silent extremely well. Solid person on TikTok. Tommy Lee. Like, so silent ironically works because it goes to every language. So there's actually some value to not talking social media content. That was a very nerdy fact, but pretty cool, right? So I am seemingly talking. In reality, the way I produce so much content, a lot of what I actually listen. So I do a lot of consumer site work. So I'm constantly, just at scale, pondering different things. Why have corduroy hats come into style? What is going on? Food trend, politics, sport, curious why. Why hats being like 20 years it was. Again, trends. Why's the rabbi show on Netflix doing so I have for the last 15 years spent a lot of time reading Twitter, social, and using.
I wanted to past one carbon dioxide 5 to 105 parts 5 degrees, about 270 Fahrenheit, and sea level has. These changes happen gradually, faster in decades. There's no question that the change. But how big a problem is it? Up, down. Interactive brokers created forecast traders follow the data, test future outcomes, buy yes or right dollar. How big a problem is climate change? Stay engaged. Go to ibkr.com. Data. Be part of the decision. Buy your point. Let's build consensus. Then decide what to do next.
AI saving a ton of time of thinking. My co-pilot in thinking now is ChatGPT. I can ask much more distinct questions, prompt engineering. So I can ask a much more deep question if off the election the other day. We'll take it back to back. 4 years, not involving. But it took me second in asking it directly, ChatGPT, back in the, that would have taken me on Google. That's a wildly big to have something that I really 4 minutes that took me seconds. That adds up a bunch of times. That's just information search can do. Search doesn't as what AI will do. They go very detailed up. An example. Hey ChatGPT, every parent right now is freaking out phone because they don't like their kids don't make eye contact. I am aware of the scope has an issue in the league that changed the trend where people that is literally something that is not something I can search to get me something good. Yeah. So currently it's changed my life. My co-pilot partner in my strategy ecology work, sharper and more effective and faster than I was a year ago. Wow. Cool, right?
I'm fired.
Especially it's monstrous. Yeah. Literally tonight you Amazon was like historical reference like when I like that is wild. You know, that's better than the best research kids right now that like kids that came out of the best. They're the ones. They can't saying these are just insane questions. When Iowa went Republican after my more than really I'm in the wine business. Sarah's exploding on the back of road. When's the last time that white wine they had to have the question? No, like in the late 19th in London, Josh Rose got hot. Like insane. Just started. Sometimes I doesn't deliver because I'm you can back 20 ago. Kids in right now, but I remember searching. I first saw context before. Like typing in plain regions. Makes me sound people under 35. Everybody 5. I remember it took us again. Why I love doing this, whether it's just with that I know somebody I can use that, and if you're like me and you use history and you use pattern recognition, I mean, there's not been a tool ever created, so I'm very excited about it.
Okay, I love that. I love that. Yeah, because you're right. There's around it.
I mean, look, 5 years ago, anything that with, and when the iPhone came out, every BlackBerry head was like, hey, and I was like, you will all be on iPhones. It's the internet in your pocket. Now we live in a very popular right now. So you take the on society and you plug it into technology, which is always nice and weird. Right now,
there are these waves that are really good about it. Anyway, technology is estimated in short term, long term. You're talking about AI this year. How do you like something?
Well, first of all, that's a great question. That's just good investing advice. First of all, please, if you're watching, please do not invest in high-risk assets to lose.
Filters like download and try it today.
That's art. That's startups. That's your buddy's barber shop. Likely not going to work. Like, what happened? Staying up oxygen. They reminded me of Pets.com for $6 billion. They were right. The internet.
Yeah.
And by the way, there, Amazon and PayPal and eBay, those for free share, 1,000 before all this split everything, didn't really. And the height of NFT summer, I made 99% of these things are going. People didn't want to hear it. Now, Bitcoin is by its own out there as a potential monetary thing not seen in the American dollar. Wild. Like, since gold. Like, enough people tip in it just because it becomes how the world. You just have to look at history. Value is everyone agrees. And so Bitcoin is not going up. It's over. NFTs are non-fungible contracts that you can't fuck with. They can't burn down in a building. They can't disappear up the earth. The country disappeared. Should excuse 1917 took over USSR. My great-grandmother used to tell me this story all the time. Her grandparents had a fucking 500-acre farm that was taken by the Bolsheviks and gone. That deed sat on the blockchain. My great-grandkids that land one day. That's not how it worked. So the blockchain's incredible, and NFTs are incredible. NFTs that everybody knows were about collecting art. That's only 1% of it. Just like collectibles, 99% of sports are Jordan's. So people are just COVID, a lot of muck, but blockchain up a level. What about crypto? The blockchain, centralized server. These are servers that not a company like Facebook and a country like America, Russia, or China can control. Comes a ledger. Buy a house. Ledger that is built with profound technology. It's just early. So I think back in 30, laugh about some buy and judge around, but I think blockchain is profound. And I think currency on it, seemingly cases, I do think assets, digital assets, also find a way. Harry, this is so stupid. That's money. I want to have my money, and I was like, "Where's your money? Like, where's your money right now?" This is my study history about. Ask your ChatGPT is tell me the history of the credit card. It's you. Credit cards were super not accepted. 1964. When I said that's my money in 1964, everybody laughed at me, and every alpha dude never gonna. Just my, I need my cash. People don't get it. Technology's limited.
In your bio, it's a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
Think about you have your hand in something.
Yes.
But when you talk about it, it does seem like all in a way a consumer set has, application content, investing.
Yes.
Tell me more about how
That's a
you started layering on the
It's a observation. It's center. It's the operating system. If you're X best at understanding consumers and knowing how to make pictures, make content, and how to spend media to amplify it. If it is the best global, I've always thought about Vayner. It's like a Death Star. Star Wars nerd. I was like, Star Wars term. Or the bad guy, which I'd rather think of a good guy, but nonetheless, he had this thing called the Death Star, and like it was so powerful, like shoot a planet, very sci-fi. But really, it was just this most powerful thing. And to me, 15 years ago, very clear to me was never communicate in a contemporary way of the moment scale. A lot of what happens in politics and in business and in pop culture has played out. I thought it might. So I went about building an operating system for it. My operating system was I will build a human structure, not a technology SaaS product, not a social network. I know me. I like humans. I like team. I knew that that's what I could build. I'm going to build a structure, best practitioners, best contemporary marketers. How does that show up? It shows up with, then I'm able to do that against, do you know Resi, the restaurant app?
Yes.
I have founder at the vault inside the Vayner machine. I started a direct-to-consumer wine brand called Empathy Wines. That was done by people that were trained at Vayner, and then that very big exit. My Pokemon that I'm building comes from the essence of this. My personal brand built from the essence of this also. And so now I sit where no matter what I do, my pickleball team, right, my investments, no matter what I do, I have an infrastructure that can create.
I can just sell it what I want. I had to make a price so fast it explodes my noggin. Beautiful design. Which allowed me to focus my noggin on making more noggins on their noggin.
Things fail because they can't.
Or they're creating back your like put where I mean these people sitting in an ivory tower think, oh, this is a great idea, and they don't actually test it and we're able to test things in real time.
I mean, Quibi is just like, that was funny you brought that up. Quibi, I'll never forget the first time I was pitched it. It was done, and I was like, YouTube? Like, they weren't solving a problem. Quibi got caught in that there was something in this short that was working. The reality was recognized that it's kind of like, dating apps are like, well, I'm competing, I'm going to go after Tinder. I'm like, about Instagram DM. Actually happening. Sometimes things are happening that you, a product that is seemingly actually doing. Right. Thought they were competing with Netflix. Quibi was competing better than they were doing it with no cost to them.
Why do you think
The concept of short, high quality, 5 to 7 minutes long is. It's a lot of other things, but any of the shows that this do for and do it better. By the way, YouTube Mr. Beast production fees to do it. You get subsidized by the advertising platform. So nonetheless,
you mentioned Resi?
just
Interesting because we're thinking about what we wanted to ask you. Gotten in a lot of already very saturated, which is interesting. Resi came after
open to
and seemingly a lot of people that say, oh well, there's already an this. How could I possibly have space for Flyfish right now? Which is gorgeous. I was here a couple weeks ago and it was jammed.
Yeah.
And obviously there's already a lot of clubs in
good ones.
So how do you think about how do you decide which space to be in and how do you saturate?
I believe it's one of the mistakes that people winning is coming out of yours if you're good enough. So when I think of what's happened with what's going on there, like there was two extra running shoes with seemingly Nike, right? I think there's unlimited of dominant players, and then being Burger, Wendy's, and then Shake Shacks like we now they slightly elevated. Still burgers and fries, right? So like everyone, something comes along, it's a cooler, better version. So one, I just think that if you're up, there's always an opportunity. Art doesn't, one doesn't, Apple doesn't, definitely doesn't. Nothing scary. That's one. As far as choosing in scenarios of residence club, actually passions of my partners that were big. And Leventhal, by the way, I talk about campaigner, but let there be no confusion. I'm not interested in being like BJ Armstrong. I'm not taking credit for championships I didn't do. I was the factor and he was the driver. Fish, Chef Capon, Chef Con, pretty active operating partners. They are restaurant tours. Timing with Flyfish, look, incredible. Zero bump. Cipriani is, but this is New York City. Like honestly, a lot of them will fail, right? Ones I haven't mentioned, and are a little actually that's subject. I think if you like, I be get. So, but it's a humongous New York City. Yeah, this place can handle 12 London private club market. I'm not educated on. Sure, there's many private clubs in London. Well, so I think about is how big is the possible market. I have a funny feeling that successful private club 5 years. I think so. So I general human, just a lot to it. First of all, private club should be you experience. It's a different.
Well, I would hope for that kind of money.
That's exactly right. That's why when I look at this place, and then I had to remind myself, well, it should be better. A place you don't pay attention for. Two, school. High school. It's fucking high school. It's always high school. And in high school, people they want to be cooler. And it's human psychology. And sure, help people scratch that itch. And by the way, some of the clubs I mentioned, some of the other big clubs I didn't mention, like they have slightly different lives, some overlap. And people have discretionary income. Separation of is a concern of mine. Separation of wealth, in general, it's a historical point that's happening. So I work. But short term, can't control everything. So aware that that's why we're of everything. There's so much small group that's discretionary income. 6 memberships to club in the city and only use like 4. There are the people who treat private club. Most people treat streaming services. People, a lot of you sign up for streaming services. Them should can't. They can afford. Right? That's a, so. I just gave you 4 things I read about doing this.
Okay. Marketing that.
Yeah, and Flyfish was obviously an NFT chip.
Yes.
And so it launched 2.5 years ago. And so there's just like all these, there's so many benefits. You know, and I like, obviously, it's right after the election, and I It's the way the actions work. As you know, next morning, even that night, loves to happen. The Tino and I always fascinated on TV, pundits, people on social media, surprised. Yeah. It's like, surprised. History will constantly changing. Changes. Humans change. Some of us changed our own nature. So I think I'm good at. I am operate tremendous parenting advice. For things to change every day. It's over. It will not be good. You children. Same way, I promise you, could be great at tool. As an entrepreneur. And this was not doing video. Change and adapt with that. And I love that. The reason I was a bad student, structured things of yesterday, K through 12, and it has been my success since.
Yeah, interesting. Another kind of topical question I really want to get your take. Cost, power,
But that happened.
did X play?
I think X played the same role that Instagram and Facebook, Snapchat, and TikTok. I think obviously because Elon punching bag or championed his started his first campaign. And I have the luxury of watching it coast to coast from the up top to Friendster. Sound. Sounds.
help us. The Browns. You know, I'm gonna stream on Twitch today. Yeah. I'm gonna stream on Twitch today. And just upload a short later.